So today, I got another film breakdown for you. I'll link the first edition of this that I made last week up above if you guys want to check that out as well. So today, we're going to be looking at Cameron's film, and Cameron is a guard from California. Nice little shooter. Did he mention that his biggest challenge is currently letting the defense speed him up and rush his shots and going at a singular pace when bringing the ball up? Overall, just feeling the defense rushes him or speeds him up a little bit too much here. And then the second thing, which was his main goal right now, is to be an effective leader, score on all three levels efficiently, and ultimately getting to his spots to put his team in a position to win. So we'll dive into Cameron's film here. Like I said, the thing that's going to jump off the bat first is his ability as a shooter. We've got a lot of great takeaways from this, and some of these are specific to Cameron, but a lot of them, if you're watching, can be applied to your game as well. And there's probably a lot of these same situations that you might be in that you can be a little bit better and make scoring easier, make scoring more consistent, overall just creating plays and creating positive things on the court in general. So let's dive into it. All right, so Cam does a great job right here. He's number 6 in white, getting his team into this action. And I'm sure his coach was yelling it out, but he did a good job of getting them there. And so this is just like we would refer to this as like a pinch post action where we're essentially throwing that high post guy out to the 3-point line from the slot where that pass is coming from. But what they do here is they have this guy on the outside set a flare screen for Cam to get to the outside. And that's the first thing. You're reading the scouting report on Cam. Cam's a shooter. I think he made like 5 or 6 threes in this game. So really great look. But I think the bigger point I want to make right here is this is why I'm always harping on players. You have to learn the actions and the concepts that the game is based on, right? If you're going out there and you're just running plays, you're just showing up and hoping that things work out, but you don't really understand how basketball works, you're going to struggle to be consistent. Basketball is a game based on actions and concepts. This is an example of an action. The action, all that means is that you make the defense do something. To make it super simple, it could be a down screen, could be a cross screen, could be, like in this case, it's like a flare screen, could be a ball screen, all examples of actions. And what this does is it makes the defense have to worry about how do we guard this right here. And so they both get caught in this flare. Now, what this creates is an open shot for Cam, but what you have to look at too, if you're not a great shooter, Cam's a really good shooter, right? So he's hunting this 3. It doesn't just create this. He now has a closeout coming at him and all this space. He could just as easily have shot fake and attacked right here as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as it goes on. But obviously, if you're a great shooter, then take that shot. Cam nails it. So this is the very next possession, and I see this same mistake by a lot of younger players where it's just kind of like a miscommunication. I think to make this super simple, right? You're saying you're trying to get to whatever sort of set or whatever action your team is trying to get to, and 15 right now he's unsure of what he should be doing or what his responsibility is. You have the ball, right? You're the one who's initiating this set or this action, so you make the choice here. You make him do what you want him to do, because ultimately the only way that this gets messed up is if you throw the ball away, because your teammates who don't have the ball can't really impact much right now. So if you're saying, hey, I want you to cut through, I want you to get to the free throw line, or I want you to get to the opposite short corner, make him go do that. When you allow him to kind of hang out in no man's land and okay, maybe he's going to figure out, maybe not, then it leads to a lot of times what happens here, which miscommunication, ball just gets kind of thrown away here. That's just something that again, a mistake I see from a lot of younger players. You have the ball, you be the decisive one to let him know where he needs to go. So this right here is similar to what I just mentioned in the first clip where we're creating a closeout, only this time it's coming directly up a skip pass. So we have Cam who's over here in the corner, teammates got the ball in the right wing, skip that all the way across, and again, what we're creating is an advantage. And in basketball, if you want to be a great scorer, you have to, first of all, know what advantages are. So again, going back to understanding actions and concepts, this is a concept, what we call advantage. And what advantages you might face. In this case, we have what we call momentum advantage, which just means that we have a closeout coming at us. The defender is sprinting, trying to take away the shot. And because of that, it's going to allow us to rip through and get downhill much, much easier than it typically would be to get downhill. Cam does a good job of getting downhill. And I think the important thing to understand is that when you attack a closeout against a half-decent defense, you're probably not going to score on it if you're the first one to attack that closeout, which he is. But what that leads to is what we call dominoes. You think about a row of dominoes, you knock the first one down, the next one falls, the next one falls. That's what this is, because he makes the defense rotate over and help. That gives him a dump down to 13, who is able to get a kick out, and they're able to hit the 3 because we hunt that momentum advantage and we attack it, especially if you are getting a pass off of like a skip pass from like right side to left side or whatever, got to be on high alert looking for that closeout to create the momentum advantage and then put your team into dominoes, as we would call it. So right here we have a ball screen, and in this case they kind of jump out and this guy blitzes him. I don't know if this was anticipated or if this guy was just being really aggressive because the other guy that was Cam's original defender doesn't like come over the top as if they were going to blitz it, but this guy's super aggressive. So I think there's a couple things we can take away. First of all, I think Cam really just lost this ball. Like he went with that quick between the legs, and I think he just kind of lost it, maybe got hit a little bit, whatever. So that'll happen. That's not really my big point here. The big thing is that if you want to be a great guard in a ball screen, you have to get really good at anticipating when that pressure is going to come from the screener's defender, right? So you've got to be able to, kind of to your point, Cam, about what you're struggling with, be able to almost slow down a little bit here, at least mentally, so you can look and see, what is this guy doing? Is he on his toes? Like he's probably going to jump out at me. That way you can anticipate it and be able to use that against him, whether it's you can split and go back to your right hand earlier. You know that it's coming, so it's less likely you're going to lose the ball. Or maybe he overruns it and you can split them right here. But you probably at this point have no clue that this guy is like getting on edge here to jump out, especially by the time we get here. And then our options out of a blitz, right? Or if this guy's going to hard hedge, whatever the coverage is, we can bounce around the outside of it, especially if it's a guy who's not that athletic. This guy looks like he's pretty quick, pretty strong, so it's a little more difficult to do that. Or you can turn and go the other way, which is what Cam tries to do. A lot of times, if your screener slips or rolls early, you can hit him, and you probably could have hit him here. But again, you lost the basketball. That happens sometimes. A lot of options out of it, but getting really good at anticipating and kind of seeing, having an idea of what's going to happen is a great way to become a high-level ball screen player. So right here we have a free throw situation, and Cam is this guy right here. So what happens is that this opposite guy is responsible for boxing out the shooter, right? This guy right here, responsible for shooter. That means that over here, Cam should be pinching this guy with the low guy, right? Now, the caveat to this is maybe, Cam, if your coach told you to do what you did right here, fair enough. But what happens is that Cam doesn't pinch. He just kind of tries to sneak around the outside here. And because of that, 23 is able to actually get his hands on this rebound here. Okay. As opposed to if you just step right here and take away his ability to crash at all, then it's going to be your guy's offensive rebound here for sure. Now, again, if your coach has a certain strategy with that, understood. But just in general, if not, this is why it's so important that if you're not getting shooter, you've got to pinch same side so that you give yourself the maximum percentage chance of pulling that defensive rebound. So let's take a look at the defensive end here. And what happens early on here is that Cam ends up in a matchup that's not great. And he does a pretty good job of fronting over here, right? So we got a big that he's matched up on. Ball is in the left corner here. And he does a good job of fronting so they can't get the ball in. What happens, though, is that the ball ends up getting reversed to the other side, and he goes to post again. This is where, again, Cam's got to get to an automatic front, right? If you're a guard and you get stuck in a post matchup against a big, again, unless told otherwise by your coaches, you need to be fighting constantly to keep that front. Because me personally, as a coach, if I'm coaching this black team and they don't give him the ball right here in this situation, I'm going to be screaming about it, right? Like, get him the basketball. We have a great matchup. Even worst case, if he doesn't get the, he's probably going to get, Cam's probably going to have to foul him if he's able to, if he doesn't get the basketball here. So Cam's got to work even harder to get in front because there's no chance at an entry from the top if Cam is able to get around in front of him. And again, like us having to take that shot instead of entering into the post, I'd be so mad if I was a coach on the black team. So if you're undersized in a matchup, whether you get switched on it or whatever, automatic front when you're in the post. Again, unless told otherwise. This right here is just high IQ defense, selfless defense, right? So we again get into a matchup where, do we understand what this guy wants to do? I'm watching this guy the whole game, really athletic, really strong, wants to get downhill, wants to be physical. And your best friend in this situation, if you're in Cam's position, is the fact that you're smaller than this guy is. So the calls are going to go in your favor if you're willing to actually put yourself in the good position, which he does here. He's in the post. He's not going to win this by like willing himself and trying to get a stop. He's either going to get scored on or he's going to foul him or both. Your option here is you need to take a charge. You have to. Cam gets bumped this first time. Let me go back here. So Cam gets in here, gets hit that first time, doesn't do anything. But what you have to know is that if I get bumped one time, the second time I get bumped, I have to take that charge. I have to. And that's what he does. Gets bumped again, takes it, and like their ref has to call that foul. Like, yeah, did he sell it? For sure. But that's being smart. I think that is, like, the most frustrating thing that I watch with some players is, like, their ego puts them above that. Like, "No, I'm not gonna get knocked over." It's like, do you wanna win or do you not wanna win? Do you want the ball back or do you not want the ball back? In this case, you have a clear way to get the ball back, so you gotta do that right there. I had to put that in here because I absolutely love everything about this. So we've got ball screen situation right here, and this ref kinda gets in the way, but you can still kinda see what we're talking about. Something that I always say is that if you're the handler in a ball screen, you want to look to reject the ball screen whenever possible. Simply because look at all the space over here to the left if he rejects this screen. Counter that with, and again, the ref's kind of in the way, but if he were to come off this screen, there's way more help. There's way more people in the area, so it's harder to make something happen. Now, you can't always reject, but in this situation, his defender is way too worried about beating him over the screen. Like, he's way too concerned about it. So all Cam does is set him up that way to get him to commit, instantly rejects it, and again, now look at all this space to get himself back downhill, gets downhill and finishes a tough layup, right? Anytime you see an opportunity to reject, it's typically going to lead to you having space to go and create something. And like I mentioned before, you getting downhill doesn't always lead to you getting the shot, but at the very least, you're going to draw in help. And if you don't have the open shot, you're going to have a kick out to somebody who probably does. All right, so here we have a transition situation. Cam's got the ball. He's coming down the court, drives, kicks or dumps it down to this guy here. Now, this is a point that I think is really important to understand, and it's the idea of the lava, right? So you can imagine like inside the 3-point line it's like it's lava in there, right? So if you're standing inside the 3-point line and you don't have the ball in your hands, you're gonna get burned. So for Cam here, you drive in. As soon as you get rid of this basketball, you have to get outside of the lava. Like you get rid of it, you just don't stop running, just clear out to the outside because by you hanging on the lava, you condense space, first of all, so you give the guy you gave the ball to less opportunity. You probably let your defender be like a big time deterrent in them scoring because they don't have to cover much ground or worry about you because you're right there. The other thing is, especially for Cam specifically, is the fact that he's already made like at least 4 threes at this point. This is one of the best opportunities for you to actually get another open look is if you get rid of this ball and get out because it's the same as like a kick out. If your teammate drove into the paint and kicked the ball out to you, it's no different than what could be right here. But he hangs out for a couple seconds in here, and now there's just all this congestion. It's not good for anybody. He doesn't get an opportunity, ends up in a turnover. So this is like the game inside the game. And like I mentioned, Cam's already made a bunch of threes. So like if I'm coaching him, I'm not upset about him taking this shot specifically, but I think that it's important to understand what he could have done instead. So he catches this ball and probably a little rushed, right? Back to his struggle, talking about feeling rushed a lot of the times. This is probably a little bit rushed because you know you're catching it. It wasn't a great pass to you, and you're shooting it again. You've made like 5, so it is what it is. You missed this one. That being said, I think you got to look at what is actually going on with the defense right now. That might tell you, hey, I probably should have shot faked and drove instead. First of all, this guy fell, so there's already one guy who's out of the play right now. What happens here is these guys both know, oh, he's made a bunch already. So they both are already jumping for this shot here. If he is able to, before he fully commits to it, just shot fake and drive, and he gets past these two, it now becomes a 4-on-2. So instead of you taking a shot that's a little bit rushed, you're a little bit off balance, right? It's not quite ideal, especially in a situation where 4 minutes to go, tie game, like kind of a big possession. You'd rather get a great look. Like you'd rather be able to do that because what probably happens here is you get past these two guys. Someone's going to rotate over and take away your opportunity to lay up. That's okay. You got to kick out to one of these two guys or a dump down to this guy. And either they're going to have a wide open 3 or they're going to have another chance for a drive. Maybe they get to the rim. Maybe they get fouled, but you're going to get more than likely a higher percentage look by taking advantage of the fact that these guys know you're a shooter. You can get them to commit, and boom, now we've only got 2 guys who can do anything about stopping you guys from scoring here. So when I watch Cam's game, I can tell he's a shooter, and obviously he's made a bunch of threes this game. So like there's no skill more important to the game of basketball than putting the ball in the bucket. So be great at it. But where you can take another step forward here, Cam, is with your physicality, especially when it comes to putting the ball on the floor. Because I think in this situation, right, this guy, you're quicker than this guy. So you're able to get a step on him here. And if you're able to take a direct line from here, like almost to the elbow, if you're able to do that, you're probably going to get a piece of the paint and you're either going to be able to get all the way and score, or you're going to have a kick out to this guy for an open three, a kick out to somebody on the other side for an open three, a dump down to this guy if he helps maybe. The problem is that you're not able to take that straight line because I don't think you have a full confidence in yourself to not lose this ball from like a strength perspective. Or maybe you're a little concerned about getting bumped, getting knocked over, not being able to kind of split this gap here. But that's a lot of space where I think you've got to be able to keep yourself going and be able to embrace that contact that's going to be coming more than likely. Again, when I watch your game, you're a great shooter. But the next piece of it is getting stronger so that you also have that secondary option, which is, okay, I can put the ball on the floor. And if they're going to give me a lane, give me an opportunity, I can get to where I want to get to. And I think going back to your goal of wanting to get to your spots at a higher level, that next piece for you is just how much stronger can you get physically? Because when you are stronger, you're going to have the confidence that you're going to be able to get to wherever it is you want to get to. So like I say to all the young guards, especially that I train or that I coach, what needs to be as important, if not more important to you, is the weight room and getting stronger, upping your physicality so that you have more diversity when it comes to the things you can do on the basketball court. All right, so let's talk about my two main takeaways for Kameron here. Number one is developing his feel for the game within the game. All that I mean by that is when I know that the defense knows something, how can I use that against them? For example, he hit a three early, he hit a bunch more throughout the game, so he knows that they think, okay, this guy's going to hurt us from three. If this guy catches the ball, he's already made a couple, he's already made a few, he's going to want to shoot another one. So if they're closing out to me, I know that that's at the top of their mind, meaning I can use shot fakes, I can use eye fakes to get them to lift up or to even completely jump early. And when I do that, I can take what might be a more of a rush shot or a shot that is a little bit contested, and I don't have to take that one anymore. I can now get them completely out of my way, get downhill, get the dominoes to fall. I have kickouts to my teammates. Maybe I get to the basket. Maybe I get a dump down. The concept, and I just talked about this today on a post on YouTube, actually. The idea of hunting great shots, we want to hunt 9s and 7s. A 7 is a big advantage 3. So think just an open 3. And Cam did a great job of hunting those 7s, and he's a great shooter, so you should hunt them. 9s are better, though. 9 would be like a big advantage, too, so an open layup. So if you can pass up what is a slightly contested 7, and you do that by getting your defender to lift by using a shot fake or whatever, you get downhill, kick it out, and now your teammate has another closeout to attack, and they get to the basket for a 9. That's great basketball. That's you making an impact. And again, no one is going to see that on the score sheet or in the stat book after the game. But your coaches, your teammates are going to know that you're the one who created that because you understand the game within the game there. Number 2 is getting stronger. And that's the key to, again, the things you're struggling with, playing at your own pace, feeling rushed, wanting to get to your spots whenever you want to. That has a lot to do with just the physicality that you play with. So that's got to be like the top of your priority list. And when you do these two things, it's going to allow you to become that 3-level scorer, a better facilitator. It's going to allow you to just play the game at your own pace every single time that you're on the court. Now, if you're interested in me doing a full multi-game deep dive into your own game, creating a breakdown for you, giving you my takeaways, creating a full roadmap for how you can maximize what you're doing right now, maybe the things you're not seeing on the court. The thing that I always say is that there are a lot of players out there who skill-wise, athletically, could be a 16-point per game scorer, but because of the way that they see the game, the limitations in what they see on the court, they're only ever going to be a 6-point per game scorer. And it's nothing to do with the work they put in, it's everything to do with what they actually see, what they perceive, because you have to understand that a skill is 3 things. Number 1, it's what you perceive or what you see around you. Number 2 is the decisions that you make. And number 3 is the physical act of actually shooting the ball or making that move or whatever it may be. So if you don't have the first 2 pieces, the perception, the decision, if you don't have those 2 down, you're going to struggle to ever see the results or ever live up to maybe being the player that you want to be if you're missing those 2 things. So if you want me to do a full deep dive, multiple games, you can check that out. Top link down below. If you have anything you got from this, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon. Peace.